Tonight I was able to speak to two guys for over an hour, and they were Muslims. In the beginning I asked them if they thought they were going to heaven when they died, and both had declared no because they had done a lot of bad things. I was able to share with them how Jesus became flesh and that he took our punishment for our sin. And one of the guys, whose name was Muhammad, actually said at the end that he was so thankful that the gospel message had been presented to him, because he gained understanding through what was being spoken, and he never really understood it. And he said that he felt like this current of emotion sort of well up within him, that he responded to what was being said and believed it to be true. And from there, he declared that he was going to search the matters out.
For 1,000 tongues to sing my great Redeemer's praises.
It's been a great night being able to share God's glorious gospel with people who need it. I was talking to a guy who was sort of had background in the Catholic faith, went through the law, showed him that we are, by our sin, we deserve hell, and that by faith alone in Jesus Christ we're saved. He was quite open. The chat went for quite a while.
His Spirit gives us words to speak. Jesus Christ is Lord, and as he breaks the hardest heart, he's worshipped and adored.
Tonight I was reminded in a very interesting way that I need to preach the gospel as a priority in a conversation. I went over to a group that a previous team member had been speaking to and engaged with them, and I started talking to a Christian who had some problems with how we know what we know, with his epistemology, and how he could therefore have a confident trust. Anyway, I talked with him for a while, and the conversation was getting tough because he was quite arrogant. I would say that he was saying his stuff and then not listening to my response. But then I realized from a comment that his friend was not a Christian, and I tried to turn the conversation to start sharing the gospel with his friend, to which this original guy was not letting me speak to his friend. He kept interjecting, he kept saying that this wasn't good enough. I had to convince him that the Bible was true before I can share the gospel and things like that. And anyway, I eventually asked this guy to give me a few minutes where he wouldn't interject so I could then speak to his friend. And then I went through the law, showing sin, showing how we're guilty and we deserve the judgment of God. And then I went to the gospel, that his only hope was not to pretend that there is no God, as he had been doing, or then to pretend that he was good, as he seemed to be trying to do, but to instead trust in the God who is good, who is just, and who definitely exists because he came into this world, and who came into this world for the specific purpose of living perfectly, dying sacrificially, and rising victoriously.
In the darkness we have